Back segment tonight is President Obama causing a massive division in America. Joining us from Washington, Charles Krauthammer. Could you believe the mention of Black Lives Matter as a change agent by the president? Wasn't that kind of stunning?
Well, I think it was a nod that he felt he had to do. But, I mean, if there's an antithesis to Black Lives Matter, it's the example of Obama's own rise and his presidency. Look, the question of whether he is responsible for the divide, the answer is no. The divide long predates Obama, goes all the way back to slavery, to Jim Crow, and now half a century of trying to accommodate legal equality with socioeconomic equality, which, of course, takes a much longer time. The fact is that our politics have very little effect on the underlying factors behind the division, meaning the collapse of the inner city, especially the collapse of the black family. Pat Moynihan wrote about this in the mid-1960s. He talked about the collapse of the black family as being a calamity that we have to face eventually, because he didn't have an answer. That was at a time where the illegitimacy rate was roughly 30 to 40%. It's now 80 to 90%. And that's the problem. We have politics can handle a lot of things. You can redistribute income, build an atomic bomb, you can win a war. But to change the culture and the inner dynamics, the habits and the values of a community is beyond politics. So I don't blame it on Obama.
But wait. One of the reasons that Ronald Reagan is revered by conservatives is that he did change the cultural tone in this country from a waffling Jimmy Carter presidency to the shining light on the hill. And he did it rhetorically. And then Nancy Reagan with the Just Say No to Drugs. There was a steady stream of traditional values coming out of the White House. Are you telling me that didn't have any effect at all for 8 years?
Can you tell me what effect it had on the rate of drug addiction, on the collapse of the family? It increased over time, and in fact, it spread to the white working class. Can you tell me? Of course, she said the right things, and I applauded her for that. But that's the proof of my point, that politics can do a lot of things, but changing cultural attitudes, are you going to tell me that the lyrics in a lot of the popular culture now are more positive, less destructive, less misogynistic than they were in the 1980s? The answer is no.
Well,
so it had zero effect.
Obama made the point that in 1983, when he graduated from high school, there were 500,000 people incarcerated. Now there's 2.2 million. So during the 80s, there wasn't an explosion of crime. That happened in the 90s after Reagan got out, when the crack thing came in and the drug thing came in big time. I submit to you that if you look at how the President of the United States used his bully pulpit, all right, from 1980 to 1988, that there were many more traditional values coming out, and it was harder for the secular media to beat them back. It was harder. Now it's a free fire zone.
Look, the media were not exactly sympathetic to Nancy Reagan and just
but it was harder for them to go crazy on her.
It was the object of ridicule. They went crazy on her. They ridiculed her as a prissy person, had no effect. They made fun of her campaign.
But Americans turned on the media by re-electing in a landslide Nancy Reagan's husband. They were so angry that the media was doing what they were doing, they turned on them.
Look, to say that political speech has an effect on politics is not to say very much. What I'm saying is that political speech, the invocations of a president, the exhortations, are going to have a very minimal effect on the culture.
But
you're attributing all these vast powers
to Nancy Reagan. I'm challenging your hypothesis. I think you're wrong. I think that Barack Obama's rhetoric has created a division that led to the creation of Donald Trump as a candidate. That people get so angry after 8 years of this secular progressive movement, and we see our country change in dramatic ways, that they said, you know what, to hell with all of them, I want some guy who's going to blow it up. I know that's the truth. Last word.
Yeah, but look, the objects of Donald Trump's attacks have been immigrants, Mexicans, Chinese,
It's
Saudis,
the system.
others who are sucking us dry. He was quite specific about who the culprits were, who the ones who are sucking us dry, including, he's even added onto that, our allies. So that has nothing at all to do with the black inner city. Zero.
But his rhetoric was more accepted this time around, which shocked the media, because people are fed up with what's going on. When they hear a president embrace Black Lives Matter, they go right over to Trump, Charles. Right over to him.
I think you're totally overreading this. You're tacking on what happened over the weekend to a phenomenon that's happened way before, and it has no relation to it.
All right, good debate, as always.